Hello, in this video for Medlium, we'll be looking at the Patient's Profiles tab and the settings for how to change those patients' options. If you click the plus button on the top right corner, it brings you to this menu where you can fill in some basic patient info, including some information that you can uh, edit the settings for. These are custom fields that you can change by clicking on Settings and then clicking on Lists and Favorites. And then if you tap on Custom Fields, it brings you to this menu here where you can toggle on or off any of the existing custom fields you have, or you can tap the plus button on the top right corner to create a new custom field. So, for example, we toggle off the driver's license field. It's now no longer going to show up in the patient's profile. So we go back over to the patient's profile and click on the plus button to create a new patient, and we'll just fill in some information very fast. Bob Brown, and just for purposes of example, we'll just fill in all of this, and we'll hit save. That brings us to Bob Brown's profile, and here we have a number of different groups that you can add this patient to. If you add the patient to any of these groups, they'll show up in those groups when you search for them underneath the Patients tab. So if you click on Past Due and then you went to that patient group, this patient would show up there. Same thing with any of these. You quickly add and remove them just by tapping on them. And you can create new patients groups the same way as before by going to Settings and Lists and Favorites and Patients Groups, and it's the same way as before. And we'll go back to Bob Brown, and here you can actually go to the patient that you were at by searching, and here underneath you have vitals that you can click on and change by clicking on each of these and adjusting them up or down. And so we'll just make some changes real fast. Under here you have allergies, appointments, clinical notes. All of these are different fields that can be edited by clicking on the plus button. And here it shows some different allergies that you can add. If you click on animal dander, then it gives you an option for a different reaction. So we'll just make up a reaction, and then gives you an option for a start and end date for this allergy and the severity. Then you can save it, and it shows up there underneath allergies. And if you tap on any of these fields here, it'll bring you to a posts list of the changes that you've made to that field. And so this is useful if you have lots of different posts, lots of different changes to a particular patient profile. You can filter down to just the ones that you want to see by tapping on the field that you want to see. And another feature that you have here is you have a sticky note, which you can add just any sort of information that doesn't really fit into another category. And you have some quick text options here, so you can add the date without having to type it, or the name of the patient without having to type it. And so those are handy for something that you have to write over and over again without wanting to have to type it. And you can just leave that as a sticky note on the account. And here, down here, just as another example, you can add a diagnosis by clicking the plus button. And here we have some favorites, diagnoses that you can you have show up right off the bat. You can add more favorites by searching for one and clicking the star button on the right. And so some of these have that feature. And we'll favorite septicemia due to serratia and click childhood today. You can leave a comment such as started with rash, and save, and it'll have the diagnosis and the comment. And now if you try to add another diagnosis, it has the diagnosis that you added as a favorite. So anything that you're constantly searching for, you just add as a favorite and it'll show up right away. And those are the different ways to edit the patient profile and change the settings for patient profiles.